Overlook Horizon High Altitude Balloons, an Ontario County nonprofit.
This is no ordinary balloon.
What a view!
Over 110,000 feet.
This is incredible.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch.
Hey, good morning everybody. Tori here from Overlook Horizon, coming to you live again for the second attempt for the Parker Solar Probe this morning. It is another super early morning, second night in a row going for the 3 a.m. launch here. But we're here, we're with you, everybody's together here. We're gonna have a good time. Well, hopefully we're gonna see this thing launch today. It seems like we're on track here, so I think I have a good feeling about this. I'm feeling good. So. I just noticed on my broadcast, my background changed twice. Forgot to update the other screens there. Anyways, so yeah, we're trying something new out again. I got a whole bunch of new toys here to play with during the broadcast. But as most of you know, if you followed along in the past with a lot of our streams and things like that, we simulcast on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, with a whole bunch of things that we got stuff going on out there. So so today we're trying something new, which is I've got the Periscope comments are actually cross-posting, and they should show up in the YouTube stream while we're actually chatting here. So if you send a comment over on Periscope, it does cross-post onto YouTube. I thought it would also go the other way around, and YouTube would cross-post over to Periscope too, but it does not appear that is happening. So I guess I'm going to try to figure out why that's not happening and how to fix that in the future, because I thought it would be really neat if we could have the Periscopers and the YouTubers all in the same conversation instead of me being the one to sync everybody together and say, here's what so-and-so is saying on each channel. So I got it working in one direction, but not the other direction. So I don't know. We're gonna have to sort that out and figure out what's going on there. But I at least got it going in one direction. So Adrian Mora says cross post, and that'll show up. That'll cross post and show up on the YouTube feed. So everybody watching on YouTube will see that, right? So we're all having fun. We're having a good time. So anyways, that's the idea. We'll see how it works. If you like it, let me know. If you hate it, let me know. We'll see what happens. Anyways, so what's happening for today? Yesterday we tried. If you were here yesterday, they tried to launch. We had a couple of pushbacks right off the get-go before we even really got to the broadcast time. They pushed it back by 20 minutes to work a technical issue with ground equipment. Then we had another unknown hold that pushed it back another like 40 minutes after that. I still don't know what the cause of that was. So that pushed it back another 40 minutes. And then we had another hold called out just under the 2-minute mark in the count. So we were getting pretty close to launch time, and there was a hold called for gaseous helium pressure alarm of some sort. And so that held the count, and yesterday we just ran out of launch window, so they had to recycle and reset, and they're going to go at it again today. So we'll give it another shot, and we'll see what happens today. So far, everything is up and running and looking good for today's launch. I'll switch over to it real quick just because I see it up on the broadcast, but there's the launch vehicle out on the pad. The mobile service tower has rolled back and exposed the Delta IV Heavy rocket this early morning here. So that is a live shot, getting ready to launch this thing here hopefully today. So yeah, I see everybody joining us here. Looks like at least I got those comments going in one direction. So hello everybody, thanks for joining us here. I see Gregorius, I see Alex Ziggyful on the YouTube channel. I see Pony, I see Jer, I see all our friends here are hanging out today. So thanks for hanging out today. And then also over on the Periscope, see a bunch of people headed to the beach. Says Oh Winter Wolfo, seeing some lightning could cause a hold. There was there is more of a concern of weather today than there was yesterday. Oh, here you go. Here's our weather right now on the broadcast. So that's the actual weather there. But yeah, it's mostly cloud cover that they're concerned about. Looks like they're upgrading. I don't know if that's accurate or if they're just reusing the broadcast from yesterday, because the last I had heard, the weather was 80% favorable, but that slate that they just showed 95% favorable, because it showed only a 5% chance of violation. So that seemed a lot higher than it was just half an hour ago. So I'm confused about that. But yeah, that's what MaxQ says that too. NASA LSP says the 45th Space Wing says there's a 95% probability of weather violation. No, it should be the other way around, 95% probability, because at least that slate that they just showed on the broadcast was 5% chance of violation. So we'll see what happens. The weather was going to be worse today than it was yesterday, but not too much. It still was looking good, and as of half an hour ago, I hadn't heard of any weather concerns that anybody was looking at, or any concerns at all so far. So as of last time I checked, everything was in good shape, and there were no issues on ground equipment, no issues with the vehicle itself, no issues with weather, range. Everything was good to go, and we've had no delays so far this morning. So fingers crossed, because there have been no delays so far this morning. They're still on track for that 3:31 a.m. Eastern Time launch, which it's 3:06 Eastern Time right now. So yeah, that's in about 25 minutes that hopefully we'll see this thing go here. So we'll try to run through this a little bit on the faster side, because we did talk about a bunch of stuff yesterday. I'm not going to switch over to the NASA broadcast yet. It can get a little bit dry at times, but maybe I can get dry at times too. Who knows? But hopefully you don't think that if you're here watching. But we're going to check out what's happening today. So here's a look at the launch vehicle that is launching the Parker Solar Probe today. So this is the Delta IV Heavy. I gotta really try hard not to say Falcon Heavy, because that my brain wants to say Falcon Heavy, but this is not Falcon Heavy. This is Delta IV Heavy. So essentially, it's 3 Delta IV cores that make up the first stage there. You'll get launched. Those 2 side boosters will separate. Those are not solid rocket boosters. Those are regular. It's a liquid oxygen and hydrogen mix there that they're using for fuel. So those side core boosters will separate. The center core will go on for a little longer. Then you've got your inner stage, which is the connection between your first and your second stage. That second stage there, that's going to be a burn for quite a while. There's two big burns. I don't remember exactly the time. We'll look at those in just a second. I've had so many numbers thrown out that I don't have it memorized. But I'll pull up the timeline. I do have it here shortly. But the second burns, you're going to get 2 burns at the second stage. You'll get 1 to actually finish putting it into the parking orbit. There'll be a brief parking orbit, a little bit of a coast phase. It's only like 12 minutes of a coast phase. And then the second stage will fire again. Then you'll get separation of that, and then this has a special third stage, which is not usually included, but this is a special third stage attached to the actual spacecraft. So when they would normally do spacecraft separation, they're actually separating the spacecraft and this special third stage, which is a solid rocket third stage, and then that will ignite and get that crazy extra boost of velocity to actually put it on its heliocentric orbit and heading towards the sun. So when we say heading towards the sun, talked about it a little bit yesterday, but what are we talking about? It's not going to dive directly into the sun. It's going to take a couple of years making close passes to the sun. The first one going to be coming up this November with the help of a whole bunch of Venus flybys, which are providing some gravity assist, some change in velocity without needing an actual rocket engine to do so. But it'll get about 7 Venus flybys that will help out with the orbital path. And so that will start, each one of those flybys will bring it closer and closer to the sun at its perihelion. And so that first perihelion, which is the closest approach to the sun, the first one is a little bit, well, it's the furthest one away, but still close to the sun, is going to be somewhere in the November time frame. And then the minimum perihelion that we'll see, meaning the very closest approach that we'll see, at least as far as the initial mission timeline is proposed, is not going to be until December 2024. So you got some time before it gets those really close approaches. That being the closest approach is going to be about 4 million miles. Somebody would have to help me out with the metric conversion there, but about 4 million miles to I think that's like 1.5 million kilometers. Is that right? Somebody check my math there. But anyways, so about 4 million miles from the surface of the sun. And one of the things they're looking at, which is kind of crazy, is that the corona, which is the area that it's going to fly through, is actually hotter than the surface is, which nobody really understands why that is. You would think that the surface of the sun would be the hottest, but the corona is actually hotter than that, and that's one of the things that the Parker Solar Probe is going to be testing and probing and measuring, is trying to find out why is the corona hotter than the surface of the sun. Yeah, and in addition to that, they're also trying to test. You get a lot of solar particles, the solar wind that a lot of people talk about as it comes off. Comes away from the sun, it actually accelerates through the corona, which is also unknown as to why that happens as well. There's some theory, there's something called the Parker spiral, which has to do with the magnetic field around the sun. The current theory, at least by Dr. Parker, who this probe is named after, is that the magnetic field is accelerating those particles, and they're really trying to understand what exactly is causing that, when it might happen, so that they can predict those better in the future and help save our electronics, our satellites, help shield them better, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the general idea behind the Parker Solar Probe. So Max Q says, I don't care who's doing it, I just love rockets. More rockets. Exactly. Chair says exactly, I say exactly. I'm with you. More rockets. I think he's talking about I think they were having a little conversation about Elon Musk here in the YouTube comments. So, so that's what we're looking at. That's the orbital path here. There was some confusion that was out there yesterday and in the days leading up to it. So, so I like to show that so that at least everybody knows what's happening. Let me see. Where's my timeline here? We'll just look at the timeline real quick, and then we'll start listening into the broadcast and see what they've got. It will at least pull it up and listen in to see if there's anything that they're working for issues. But this is what our timeline looks like if we have a successful launch today. Hopefully, fingers crossed again. But those port and starboard, the two side boosters, those cut off just under 4 minutes. We get first the center engine, the main engine boost, the center core booster cutoff is 5.5 minutes. First stage separation right after that. Then we get that second stage burn. That will run until about 10.5 minutes. Then it will restart again after a 12-minute coast phase at 22 minutes. Then we get that cutoff, separation. Then the third stage ignites at the 37.5 minute mark. That's going to run for about 1.5 minutes. And then we get separation about 43 minutes after launch today. We're going to do this. We're going to do this the entire time here. So, so hopefully we have a successful launch today. So Max Q says, I don't remember, does PSP have any imaging capabilities? I'd love to see some new Venus images, especially since we have 7 encounters with it. So the answer is kind of yes or no to that. I don't believe they have any traditional camera equipment, so I don't think you're going to get any shots of Venus. They do have, I think it's called like a white light imager on board, which is specifically for studying the sun. So a couple people had asked about camera equipment that might be on board, and it's really pretty minimal. They tried to keep the weight down as low as possible because it's so hard to get to the sun and to get close to the sun. You need so much velocity to get there, or so much delta V to get to the sun. They really had to keep the weight minimal. So it was just There is a white light imager that's specifically for studying the sun, but they don't have any extra camera equipment on board for images of Venus or anything like that. What info? Peter says, what info is the probe going to gather, please? Yes, so it's I don't know the exact specific data streams that are in there, but the general mission that they're studying is those 3 points that I had mentioned before. They're trying to figure out why the corona is hotter than the surface of the sun, so why the upper atmosphere of the sun is actually hotter than the surface. They're trying to look at those solar winds, the particles that are coming off, why they accelerate coming off. They shouldn't do that, but they do. So hopefully they figure out what's happening there. The theory is the magnetic field, as I mentioned, is accelerating those particles, and they're trying to figure out what they can do about that to build better radiation shielding back here on Earth with our spacecraft. So let's see what else we got. I'm just keeping an eye on the broadcast here. We will switch over to that in just a minute, but want to recap and get everybody up to speed on what the probe is going to be doing today. So as far as where we're launching today, we talked about this yesterday as well, but this is pad 37B on Cape Canaveral at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. So it is the 5th red dot down from the top there, the historic pads that you remember that you saw from the big Apollo missions or the space shuttle missions, or the 2 pads at the top. That's 39A and 39B. Then you've got another ULA pad, which is 41. Pad 40 is the next one. That's a SpaceX pad where the Falcon 9 launches from, and then 37 and 37B is the 5th red dot down. So that's where we are launching from today. So Gaming Freak says, so the sensors are sticking out of the probe, meant to keep the core of it from getting hit by the heat of the sun. Yeah, some of those sensors are only being used when it's away from the sun, but yeah, a lot of those sensors, there's one sensor that comes out the side of it, and I'll see if we can get an image here of it. Let's see, let me pull this up here real quick. We can switch over here quick. I don't know if any of these images will show it, because this is all packed. This is all packed up, ready to be put into the payload fairing. But you've got your 2 solar arrays. They're actually covered here. There's some covers that are on them. Let's see, where's a picture of the solar array that's exposed? There you go. Here's some pictures of the solar array. Well, it's completely exposed there. You can see the solar array, and there is one set of sensors that will stick out the side even while it's during its closest approach during perihelion with the sun. There is a sensor that sticks out the side of it, and that's a sensor that they had to build special wiring for, because they didn't have you can't just use traditional wiring. It would just absolutely melt. So they had to use special wiring for that, but most of the electronics are all set behind that big heat shield. That heat shield is reinforced carbon-carbon, which is the same material that's used on the nose cone of the space shuttle and the leading edge of the space shuttle wings. So that same material that was used for that is that reinforced carbon-carbon there. And then behind the reinforced carbon-carbon, there's even more insulation, heat shielding. I believe that's like foam material there, and I think it's like the foam tiles that are on the bottom of the space shuttle is what's behind the main part of the heat shield. And then you've got all your electronics, and there is actually active water cooling that's happening. They've got water that circulates from I'm going to call the heat shield the front of the spacecraft. So from the front to the back of the spacecraft, they're circulating water to keep things cool. But it's actually surprisingly not that hot that they have to deal with for relatively speaking here. So what they're dealing with temperature wise is really kind of a manageable 2,500 degrees. It's still pretty hot. They still have to do some special working, but we can deal with that. We've dealt with that before. 2,500 degrees is about the temperature that you see on re-entry for vehicles coming back to Earth. So we know how to deal with that kind of heat, and it was just a matter of packaging that appropriately so that it was ready for this type of spacecraft. So So that in that 2,500 degrees, you're flying through an area where the temperature is 2 to 3 million degrees Fahrenheit, and that the reason is that the area is not very dense as far as particles are concerned. So that area is not very dense, and as the spacecraft passes through, there's not that much heat transferred from the atmosphere to the spacecraft itself. So although the temperature there is 2 or 3 million degrees Fahrenheit, the heat actually transferred to the spacecraft is only about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, so much more manageable. And behind the heat shield, that heat shielding is going to last forever, even millions of years beyond after the spacecraft is done with its mission. That will still be orbiting the sun. But behind that heat shield, it's only about 85 degrees, which is pretty incredible at how well that heat shield works. So let's see, it's weird how the back of the spacecraft won't get burned up by the sun even with the heat shield. Yeah, that heat shield is pretty incredible stuff. It's going to be actively orienting itself to point the heat shield at the sun to make sure that it's in the perfect position, and during perihelion it's going to be constantly reorienting itself so that that heat shield is always pointing perfectly at the sun and all the equipment is protected. Also, those solar arrays, they flare out while it's away from the sun, and then they tuck back in so that just a tiny bit is being exposed. So you can see in this image here that they're showing on the broadcast, that's in their kind of tucked in position. They keep that all behind the heat shield there. So it is pretty incredible at the engineering that went into this. So it's a pretty exciting mission. I'm super excited for it, at least. But let's listen in. I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit here, and we'll listen in and see what they're saying, see if there's any issues that they're working. Hopefully I don't blow everybody's eardrums out, but let's give this a shot here.
2, 1, and lift off. Lift off.
I'm going to turn this down a little bit here. So this is the overview of what's actually happening today during the mission. Actually, here, we'll mute. When they come back and talk, we'll turn that volume back up. But essentially today, yeah, this is going through the launch procedure here. So we're going to see we're going to see liftoff. We'll see those side boosters jettisoned. Then that main center core, which is actually throttled down a little bit during the beginning part of ascent, will throttle up after those are jettisoned. Then you get separation once that is done. You get the second stage that ignites there, and we'll go for a little while. You'll get your payload fairing will jettison at that point. Now that they're out of the atmosphere, they don't need that anymore. And again, don't forget too that there's no recovery efforts here. So that's a specifically SpaceX kind of thing, is the recovery efforts. So no booster recovery, no fairing recovery. This is a completely expended vehicle. This is going into the ocean. So after the second stage is done, that's where you get that spacecraft separation, and then that final special third stage will ignite, that solid rocket third stage. And that's going to really give it a huge kick at the end of that flight, and then the spacecraft will separate and it'll be on its way. So that's what we're looking at today. So Junior says, I sure hope we get a launch today so you can get some sleep. I know, right? Does it look that bad? Do I look that tired? two 3 a.m. nights in a row is tough. All right, let's turn this back up. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, so the rocket is ready to go at this point. It's fueled. The people on console all their systems have been checked out and are ready to go, and we're about to enter into a terminal count poll conducted by the launch conductor, where the launch conductor will poll each engineer and verify that their systems are in fact ready with a simple go, and that indicates that the launch is ready and Delta is ready to fly.
And we're just about 18 seconds away from that poll. Live on your screen, you can see the Delta IV Heavy rocket with the additional third stage at Space Launch Complex 37 on Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, and we'll listen in to this poll in about 5 seconds.
Perfect. We'll switch over to it just in time to hear the poll, because we should
Status check to proceed with terminal count. First stage
coming up on the
propulsion.
Terminal count.
Go. Hydraulics. Go. Locks. Go. LH2. Go. Second stage systems. Locks. Go. LH2. Go. Third stage systems. Third stage vehicle manager. Go. Electrical systems. Airborne. Go. Ground. Go. Facility. Go. RFFTS. Go. Flight control. Go. COM. Go. GCQ. Go. Operation support.
Calm to wake this morning.
Pneumatics. Go. Umbilicals. Go. HAZGAS. Go. ECS. Go. Red line monitor. Go. Quality. Go. Op safety manager. Go. ULA safety officer. Go. Vehicle system engineer. Go. Anomaly chief. Go. Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. MEQ, established swing arm lock pins pulled.
Active.
And we just heard the poll with all stations reporting that they're go for launch. Alyssa, we're entering the final few minutes of the count here, about 5 minutes and 45 seconds before we launch. And can you tell me what it means to United Launch Alliance to be able to launch the Parker Solar Probe mission?
Yeah, ULA is always excited about doing interplanetary missions. The chance to get to explore the solar system is something that we look forward to and are happy to be a part of. This mission means a lot to us.
Turn this down here again until we get. I'm gonna listen in, but just so that I can talk a little bit. Yeah, everybody's commenting about COM taking their time. COM, come on, COM. Yeah, we're. Looks like we're in good shape. Somebody said, Gaming Freak said, do you think they're going to delay it again? It doesn't seem like it. Threw this back up now so you can hear it.
All steps are complete prior to terminal count.
Yeah, so they just said L minus 5 minutes. So there's an L minus and a T minus clock. The L minus is really the actual time until launch. So L minus 5 minutes. The T minus is the clock that you see in the bottom right there. That's the official countdown clock.
And we have about 30 seconds remaining in our hold in the T minus clock. After that, the L minus and the T minus clocks will be synced up. You're looking at a live shot of the Delta IV Heavy rocket poised for liftoff from Space Launch Complex 37 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station.
So we should be in shape. Pony says your logo is over the clock. I think that's a YouTube thing. I think YouTube puts their branding in the bottom right.
4,
so you might want to full screen it
1.
Or make it a little
minus 4 minutes and
bigger. Because I can't control that one. That's just on YouTube. That's not on my actual broadcast that I'm sending out.
Ground pyros enabled.
So here we go. We're counting it down. We're looking for successful launch today for the Parker Solar Probe. And a couple people were talking about the gravity assist. Yeah, and it's so I was reading some of the comments, and the gravity assist that you're getting from Venus, and even when you're leaving Earth.
We're about 3 minutes and 20 seconds before liftoff. And Mick, can you tell me what we have left to go in the next 3 minutes?
Yeah, the teams are securing LOX and LH2, liquid hydrogen tanking there. They'll be finishing that up, getting ready to go internal. You'll hear a call for spacecraft power to internal. They'll be arming their flight termination systems and getting ready for launch, and then bringing the Delta IV Heavy launch vehicle onto internal power to prepare for the final terminal count.
And it's 2:49.
And we are coming up very shortly on the verification of the spacecraft being on internal.
Well, take this time.
Flight pressure and flight level.
We're coming up on launch. Take the time to hit that thumbs up button on the YouTube.
It's 2:30.
Or throw some hearts in on the Periscope. Lets me know that you enjoy watching here.
Verified.
So Jer wants to know about the recycle process. Yeah, we'll get to that after launch.
And we are at T minus 2 minutes, 5 seconds, and counting. After liftoff, we'll be listening to the voice of United Launch Alliance, Patrick Moore, providing Ascent commentary.
1:55. Launch sequencer start.
We got past where we were yesterday. We're still moving.
Minus 140.
FCS launch enable.
137.
CBC LH2 at flight pressure and flight level. FTS armed.
Minus 120.
We'll see you armed. FCS count started.
This is where it gets busy here. I see all the periscope hearts coming in. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate that. Coming down to under a minute. Under a minute until launch.
1 minute.
Here we
Engine
go.
starbox go.
Rock, report range status.
Range grid.
Also, remember, there's a huge fireball when this lights. We can talk about that after launch. But the huge fireball looks like the rocket's on fire. It's completely normal.
Third stage is go for launch.
Roger. Range grid.
Second stage LH2 secure at flight level.
40. Minus 30. Status check.
Go Delta.
Go PSP.
Here we go. What did they do with the count? They got rid of the count. I don't know what the count is. Bring the count
Minus
back.
15.
Roll for ignition.
There's the sparkers. Look for the big
10.
fireball.
9.
Nine,
Start.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
There it is. Look at
3,
that.
2, 1, 0. Liftoff of the mighty Delta IV Heavy rocket with NASA's Parker Solar Probe, a daring mission to shed light on the mysteries of our closest star, the Sun.
3R68 look good in the full thrust mode. Seconds into flight. Chamber pressures continue to look good on all three boosters. Now 35 seconds in. Chamber pressure on the core booster is throttling down to the partial thrust mode. Response looks good. Now 50 seconds into flight. Strap-on boosters look good in the full thrust mode. Core booster looks good in the partial thrust mode. Now 1 minute into flight. Vehicle trajectory looking good right down the middle of the range track. 1 minute, 10 seconds into flight. Coming up on 1 minute, 19 seconds into flight, max Q, maximum dynamic pressure, and Mach 1, Delta IV is now supersonic. One minute, 30 seconds into flight. Port and starboard booster engines continue to look good in the full thrust mode. Core booster looks good in the partial thrust mode. 1 minute, 45 seconds into flight. Trajectory continuing to look good right down the middle of the range track. ACS press valve has been opened. ACS pressure response looks good.
We should be coming up next on that
2 minutes, 10 seconds in.
side booster separation. So we're 2 minutes, 10
Strap-on
seconds
boosters
in.
continue to look good in the full thrust mode. Core booster looks good in the partial thrust mode. And Delta IV has gone to closed loop guidance. Two minutes, 30 seconds into flight. And at 2 minutes, 39 seconds into flight, the Delta IV rocket now weighs just 1/2 of what it did at launch, burning propellant at a rate of almost 5,000 pounds per second. And launch vehicle is now 33 miles in altitude, 49 miles downrange distance, traveling at 4,500 miles per hour. 3 minutes into flight. RS-68A engines in the port and starboard boosters continue to look good in the full thrust mode. Core booster looks good in the partial thrust mode.
So we're looking
3 minutes, 15 seconds into flight.
we're looking pretty good here after launch. Unlike this, this is very science focused, so we don't have any
Trajectory continuing
extra
to look
cameras
good down the
on
middle of
board.
the range track.
No live streaming cameras like you see on a lot of the SpaceX launches. So
Approximately 2 minutes remaining in the boost phase of flight. Chamber pressure is continuing to look good on all 3 boosters. Port and starboard booster in the full thrust mode, core booster continuing in the partial thrust mode. And standing by for a strap-on booster throttle down momentarily. Port and starboard boosters have begun to throttle down.
there you go. There's separation there.
And we have jettison of both strap-on boosters.
Yeah, there they go.
Core booster is throttled back up to full thrust. Response looks good.
Those will get expended into the ocean. So no recovery attempt on those boosters. Until SpaceX came along, that's how everything was done. So yeah, no recovery attempt.
4 minutes, 25 seconds into flight. Upper stage lock system has begun boost phase chill down sequence. And 1 minute remaining in boost phase of flight.
Yep, so we got about 1 minute until that first, that center core booster
And upper
shuts
stage
down.
fuel system has begun boost phase chill down.
So we should be coming up on that about 45 or 35 seconds now until that
5 minutes into flight. Just over 30 seconds now remaining in first stage phase of flight. Core booster engine continues to look good in the full thrust mode. Vehicle trajectory continuing down the middle of the range track. 5 minutes, 20 seconds into flight.
I wonder how long we'll actually get to see this for.
And standing by for core booster throttle down momentarily.
Yeah, it should be about 10 seconds here.
Core booster has
Less
begun
than
to throttle down. Standing by for BECO. And we have BECO booster engine cutoff standing by for stage sep. And we have good indication of stage separation.
Ooh, that's blurry.
Ned is deploying.
That's very blurry. There we go.
We have pre-start on the RL-10. And we have ignition on the RL-10 engine. Engine chamber pressure looks good.
So now this is obviously an animation here.
And we have good indication of payload fairing jettison. Now 6 minutes, 20 seconds into flight. And with the boost phase of flight complete, Parker Solar Probe will now continue its journey to the sun.
Yeah, so this is going to go on until about the 10-minute mark in flight. And I know, is there a clock on here? They do have a clock. It's in the bottom right-hand corner. That's in second, or bottom left-hand corner. It's in second. I'm kind of
And
in the
it's
right.
6 minutes,
Right
50
here.
seconds
Here's
into
their
flight.
clock.
RL-10 chamber pressure looks good.
I'm
Seeing
also
good responses on the upper stage RCS system.
I'm also running a clock here on my phone so that I can try to keep you updated
And
as to what's
after a
happening
brief
and when it's
review
going to
of
happen.
booster performance, seeing very close to nominal performance on the booster.
Here's that. We were talking about that that sensor that sticks out from the heat shield. You can actually see it in this animation here.
And this
On
first
the
burn
near
of the second
side.
stage will last approximately 4 minutes, 42 seconds. Now 7 minutes, 30 seconds into flight.
Yeah, those two little
3 minutes
tiny
remaining
white
in the
lines that are
first
like
burn.
right here. Wonder how far I can reach before it cuts my finger off. Those two little white lines that are like right there. Oh, right there. Those will fold out. That's the sensor that will fold out outside the heat shield. So we got some time here, but looks like we're going well so far. We're off the ground. We're off the ground, which is a lot better than we were yesterday, but that's okay. We don't want to rush it. We want to make sure everything's okay. We'd rather have a delay than a boom. So, Matija, Nadija85 said, "Well, they will land anyways." I think that's in reference to the booster and the payload fairing. They will definitely land, but yeah,
it's 8 minutes 30 seconds into flight. RL-10 chamber pressure continues to look good. Seeing very stable values on the upper stage LOX and LH2 tanks.
Yeah, and we're gonna.
ACS storage bottle pressure looks good, and vehicle body rates are very smooth.
This guy talks every 2 seconds. I can't. I don't want to talk over him, but you're going to want to keep an eye on that velocity as we continue on here. So
now 9 minutes into flight.
Right now, velocity is pretty normal for any sort of satellite launch. Getting up to getting close to 17,000 miles per hour. It's kind of the traditional thought of low Earth orbit speed. Really it depends on how far away from where your orbit is, what your speed is actually going to be. Yeah, we're going to want to keep an eye on that and see what that speed gets up to once the third stage kicks in, because that should really give it some crazy velocity away from Earth.
9 minutes 40 seconds into flight. Just under 1 minute remaining now in the first burn of the second stage. Second stage continuing to perform nominally. RL-10 engine performing well. Tank pressures look good. Vehicle body rates remain smooth.
Yeah, so we're about 10 minutes. Oh, there you go. I was just going to say 10 minutes into flight, and that engine cutoff is going to be about 10:37.
And about 30 seconds remaining in the first burn.
Alex Ziggyful, when do you think the Vulcans are going to visit us for first contact? Maybe after this. Maybe they're hiding on the backside of the sun.
And standing by for MECO 1 momentarily. And we have MECO.
Here we go.
Body rate smoothing out nicely.
So now this is going to. There
and now seeing
mission elapsed
upper
time now.
stage ACS firings as expected. Now 11 minutes into flight. And this will be approximately a 13-minute coast duration prior to MES 2.
Yep, so MES 2 that he's referring to, that's main engine start 2. So that's basically the second stage engine start that's going to come up
from the Mission Director Center.
Flight.
I'm joined once again by Alyssa Macbeth of United Launch Alliance. For those of you that are watching, we had an on-time liftoff today of the Delta IV Heavy rocket. And Alyssa, can you tell me how the launch went?
Oh my goodness, that was a beautiful launch. Just the sound and everything. Oh, it was great. It's looking good so far too. We saw good separation of the boosters from the main core and the booster from the second stage. Just experienced MECO 1. There's going to be 2 burns of the second stage, so that's coming up. The second burn, second engine start. And then in just approximately 45 minutes, we'll see payload separation. So everything's looking good so far.
Great. And can you tell me a little bit about your experience working with ULA and what it's like to work in a mission like this again?
Yeah. So I get to work with the innards of the rocket, the electronics, the avionics boxes, ordnance, pyrotechnics, all that kind of stuff. So working on a mission like this is something really special. To be able to get your hands on a vehicle like this and do something that's going to affect the world is really, really amazing.
Well, thank you very much again for being with us, and I think we'll talk to you a little bit later in the broadcast. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Alyssa.
Sounds good. Thanks.
So Junior on Periscope asked, could Falcon Heavy accomplish this mission? It certainly could, as far as performance-wise. The Falcon Heavy is about, I think it's like twice as powerful as the Delta IV Heavy is. So it certainly could accomplish
13 minutes into flight.
But you got to remember,
upper stage is continuing the coast period prior to MES 2. Vehicle systems all performing nominally during this coast, seeing periodic thruster firings as expected. The tank pressures and body rates remain stable.
Turn him down for a minute. Yeah, so you got to remember that the Falcon Heavy was not around when this launch contract was awarded, so that's why they went with the Delta IV Heavy. It really, at the time, was the only launch vehicle that could accomplish this type of mission. Now you've got Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy could accomplish this type of mission, and I would love to see it accomplish this type of mission in the future.
The performance from the first burn, seeing fairly close correlation on major orbital elements. Performance appears to be pretty good.
Yeah, so everything is looking good so far. So we got a lot of time here until that second stage lights up. And
from the Mission Director Center, once again, we had an on-time liftoff of the Delta IV Heavy rocket. On your screen, you were seeing a live telemetry view animation of the rocket on its flight path. So things are looking pretty good at this moment as we're in a coast phase right now. And we'll go back to Marie Lewis for more on NASA's Parker Solar Probe. Marie?
All right, thanks, Josh. And I don't know about you, but here in the studio, we could feel the rocket rumble. And I know for our folks here on the TV side, that never gets old. We have Tori standing by now with a very special guest. We've been talking about him the whole show. And Tori, we can't wait to meet him. Please introduce us.
Thanks, Marie.
Dr. Parker.
I do certainly have a very special guest with me, Dr. Eugene Parker himself. Dr. Parker, you just watched the launch of the mission that bears your name. What was that like?
Well, I really have to turn from biting my nails and getting it launched to thinking about all the interesting things which I don't know yet and which will be made clear, I assume, over the next 5 or 6 or 7 years. It's a whole new phase, and it's going to be fascinating throughout. I'm anticipating that the results will turn up basic information on why the corona of the sun is at 1 million degrees. That accounts for the acceleration of the solar wind. I'm just waiting for the data now, and the experts can get busy and sort it out, because there's an awful lot of data coming in, or will be a lot of data coming in. All I can say is, wow, here we go. We're in for some learning over the next several years.
That's right. So we'll definitely be anxiously awaiting that data and research.
Here we go.
I also hear that this is the very first launch that you were able to witness with your own eyes. Is that right?
That's right. The video, of course, has supplied all of us with views of rocket launches, but somehow when you're looking at the real thing, it's quite impressive.
Nothing compares to the real thing, I would think.
Yeah, it's a little like the Taj Mahal. We've all seen pictures of the building and what a graceful structure it is. But if you happen to be in India and stop by that way, there's the real thing, and video and paintings and so forth just don't catch it somehow. Your mind is in a different state when you're looking at the real thing.
Well, we are certainly all honored to have you here with us this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Marie, we'll go back to you.
All right, thanks, Tori. So great to have him here on the show. Understanding the sun will give us valuable information for future space missions.
Turn these guys down here. And we'll chat for a little while. Let me turn that down a little bit, and we'll get back into their broadcast. I'll keep it going so we can see what's happening, see if there's any new developments. But we're in a coast phase now. We got some time. We're going to wait for the second stage to relight here. We're going to stick around. I know this probably gets to be a little bit of the boring part of the broadcast, but we're going to try to spice it up as best we can. Without having actual footage or onboard cameras like SpaceX does, it's it can be a little tough to look at. So a couple of things I did want to say, because I see a bunch of people talking about it in the YouTube comments. Falcon Heavy, next Falcon Heavy launch, the STP-2 launch, November 30th is the current net date. That's no earlier than And then there is another, the third Falcon Heavy is actually scheduled close behind that. That will be Arabsat. That's coming up. Right now it's scheduled for December. I would not put money on that. I think it's going to get pushed to like January timeframe. So yeah, we're looking at end of November for the next Falcon Heavy. That will be super exciting. I mean, this is super exciting too. This is a great science mission. This is, you know, fantastic to, you know, if we can get this probe on its way, this is going to provide so much data back to us and, you know, help us understand not only our sun, which is the closest star to us, it's going to help us study all stars and understand how they all operate. So it's kind of an exciting science mission. But yeah, to see the Falcon Heavy, and SpaceX does such a great job of all their camera footage, and, you know, plus it's super exciting to see those boosters land. That's going to be super exciting. So so there we go. Max Q says, my guess is that it'll slip, to be honest. Yeah, I think, I mean, the Falcon Heavy, the second one has slipped a couple of times already. So I would think that Falcon Heavy there's still a chance that it may slip into December. I don't think that next one is going to slip too much, at least not that I've heard so far. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. I'd like to think it's not going to slip too much further, but I probably expect, given that its current net date is like November 30th, I think probably realistic Falcon Heavy number 2 is going to be probably early December, and then Falcon Heavy number 3 is probably going to be like late January. That's my guess. Complete speculation. Don't quote me on that. That's just my guess. We'll see how that works out and if they do it. But we also got, you know, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening this fall and into the next year. But you got the demo mission, the Crew Dragon demo mission coming up later this fall. So that'll be super exciting just to see that. And then next spring, we're going to see the in-flight abort test, and then finally the actual crewed demonstration flight test for the Crew Dragon that's scheduled in April of next year. So those are coming up. We still got a while before we get to those points, but a lot coming up this fall at least to work towards that. So definitely some exciting things coming up here. So let's see what else. I was going to say something else on that topic. Let's see. Alex Ziggyful says, like the video, send Tori some love. Yeah, hit that thumbs up on there. If you're still watching on Periscope, if you're still with us, if you're hanging in there, throw some of those hearts my way. If you're on Facebook, like the video on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. It just helps me out, lets me know that there's people out there, that somebody's watching. I know it's like 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and everybody just wants to go to bed, myself included. But yeah, we appreciate showing some love. Lets me know that everybody is enjoying it and having a good time, and keeps me going for future ones. So, Gaming Freak, you're going to watch the James Webb launch for sure. Definitely going to watch the James Webb launch when we do finally get to that. That's another super exciting one as well. That one, I'm so nervous about the James Webb launch whenever we get to that one, just because of how much money we've spent on James Webb. It just seems like it's got to work because it's so, not only money but time too. So much time has been spent on James Webb, and it's an amazing spacecraft, amazing telescope, and just hope nothing goes wrong with that, just because of how long it took to get to that point. So let's see. Let me turn this back up here.
We'll enter that phase, and then they'll cut off and we'll enter into a coast phase right before a second stage separation. Then the third stage will ignite at approximately 37 minutes into the flight, and that will be our last and final burn before spacecraft separation.
So we had a great launch on time this morning at 3:31 a.m. But there's still more work to do.
There is.
Before the spacecraft separates.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell me what's next for United Launch Alliance?
Yeah, our team is still working they're monitoring data in the launch control room and in Denver as well as here. Just looking to make sure everything looks nominal, that the booster performed. They're probably looking at data from the booster and make sure everything looked clear and good there. And as we continue through the flight, they'll continue to do that.
Well, once again, you're looking at a live telemetry feed here. It's an animated feed that you see of the second stage. When at the very top of it, you see NASA's Parker Solar Probe there, which is moving toward its separation time. And we just have confirmation of ignition of the RL-10 engine.
So there we go. There's our restart for the second stage.
And with
this
that,
is going to go for a while.
Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for a great launch.
Thanks for having me again.
Yes.
Thanks.
This is going to go for a while. A lot of times when you're watching the satellite, this is where it starts to get a little different than a typical satellite launch. Because usually this second burn here, you would see that second burn only lasts a few seconds, maybe
body
a
rate
minute.
continuing to look good. Chamber pressure remaining stable.
This is actually going to go for like 12 minutes.
24 minutes, 5 seconds into flight.
Second stage here. So this is a very long burn for this second stage to really get it going. And then we still have a third stage to go. We haven't even gotten to the third stage yet, so we still got to do the third stage as well. But this is a very long burn for a very long second burn for the second stage. So let's see. I saw a comment. Somebody threw something up here. Think of all the tech advances he's seen in his lifetime. I think that's in reference to Dr. Parker there that we were listening to a little while ago.
We are at a mission elapsed time of 24 minutes, 50 seconds into launch, the second burn of the RL-10 engine. You see on your screen from the telemetry feed that is updated in real time. We'll continue to monitor things as we move towards spacecraft separation, where Parker Solar Probe will then begin to unfurl its solar wings. But for now, we'll go back to Marie Lewis in the studio. Marie?
All right, thanks, Josh.
Right,
the Parker Solar Probe mission.
We're going to mute Marie again, and we'll pull them back up once they go back to the spacecraft. So we've got some time here. Like I said, this next burn is going to last for a while. So Junior says, hope you have coffee. I don't have any coffee. I should have gotten some coffee, but the last night when we did the launch, we did the launch, and then I went back to bed. I didn't want to have coffee because I went back to bed after that. So no, I don't have any coffee at the moment. I was undecided. I didn't know how long this was going to go for, if it was going to get delayed. But there's a good chance that, as long as everything goes smoothly here for the rest of it, we'll probably wrap this up here in about 25 minutes or so, and then I'm going to go back to bed. So I'm not going to hit any coffee because I'm going to go back to bed for a little while. Let's see. Wow, free up, interested in space. Good morning from Georgia, USA. Thank you for the live stream. Thanks, Deborah, for joining us. Phantasmio says, what's next for ULA? Reusable rockets? Yeah, I think that, they are working on the reusable rocket. What's it called? Vulcan is their reusable rocket that they are working on. They are moving towards reusability as well. Alex Ziggyful says, going to do any sticker giveaways tonight? I hadn't planned to do any sticker giveaways tonight, only because I don't generally do the sticker giveaways for these late night ones. I like to save them for the daytime launches, so I probably won't do any sticker giveaways today. Sorry for that, but we will have. We've got another launch coming up, a SpaceX launch. Oh, I know what I was going to tell everybody too. But we do have a SpaceX launch coming up towards the end of the month. I think it's on the 23rd. August 23rd is the next SpaceX launch. We will be giving away stickers for that one, and we're going to give away some mission patches. Still got the test mission patches. We got some stickers to give away. We got the Space Lobster auction going on for our Space Lobster that went up to 100,000 feet on Overlook Horizon 15. So the Space Lobster auction is still happening at overlookhorizon.com/auction. If you want to take home a priceless plastic lobster that went to 100,000 feet. And you're probably going to get some stickers along with it too. But if you want to take that home, overlookhorizon.com/auction is where that's happening. So let's see. So yeah, next SpaceX launch coming up soon, and we will definitely give away some patches and stickers for that. So make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel because the giveaways, if you want to win the patch or the stickers coming up for the SpaceX launch, those will only happen on the YouTube channel. You got to be a YouTube commenter in order to win the mission patches or the stickers during the next SpaceX launch. So head over to youtube.com/OLHZN if you're not there already, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you get a chance to win that stuff. And we've had some previous winners. I don't know if they're with us here today. I can't even remember everybody who wins them, but we've had some previous winners, and they can attest. I do actually send out the stuff. It goes out. It's a real prize. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. But even if you're watching on Periscope, you do have to be over on the YouTube channel if you want to win those giveaways. But you definitely subscribe, or not subscribe. What do you do on Twitter? Follow at OLHCN on Twitter, and then you'll see the updates come out for our launch announcements. And then the other thing I was going to actually tell people, this is kind of new. I don't really know what I'm doing with this, but Gregorius asked about it during the, was it last night that he asked about it? The Discord channel. I do have a Discord channel. I don't know how to use it. I was playing around with it today. I'm going to try to learn it and get more into it. Feel like it's a cool way for me to express what's happening or what we're doing in between launches, in between these rocket launches or stuff like that. We can throw out some updates that are, on things that we're working on. And if you guys want to have a place to chat as well and build the community, I do have a Discord server with a couple of channels on there. I'm trying to get the correct terminology here for Discord. I'm very new to Discord, but I'm learning it. But there's an invite, I think it works, in the description below on the YouTube video. So if you're on YouTube, just open up the description there. There should be an invite link to our Discord server if you want to jump on board. There's not much there right now because I don't know what I'm doing. But I've got some automatic updates happening from, at least for some SpaceX information. We threw some Discord bots on there. I don't know. I got to figure out how it all works. So Jer says Twitch is a big social platform as well. Yeah, I'm also very new to Twitch as well. I didn't use Twitch very much in the past. I would watch Twitch, but we didn't start streaming to Twitch until recently. Twitch obviously was mostly gaming to begin with. Now they've kind of got their IRL channel or category. So we are streaming to Twitch's IRL category as well. So yeah, we're covering them all, covering all the stuff. We throw it all out there. We'll see what works, what doesn't work, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it, let me know, and we'll stop doing it. So there it is. But I got the Discord channel out there, or this Discord server. I'm trying to figure out how it works. So go check out the link in the description below. Discord won't let me post. Oh, see, now that's the kind of stuff that I don't understand on Discord. I know. See, I'm gonna open it up. Hang in there, Jason. We're gonna fix this real quick while I'm on here because you guys are gonna teach me how the Discord works. I think I could just change the permissions here somewhere. I'm gonna figure out how to go to it and change the permissions, but I think I can just change the permissions. And let's see, permissions. Nope, it's not in there. See, I don't even know how to get to permissions. Oh, can you post that? Did you switch to? Yeah, if you're in the, you can't post in the welcome one. Somebody says go to a different channel. So there we go. You can't post in the announcements, the welcome or the announcements channel. You can't post to, but you can try. You can try the spaceflight one. You should be able to post in the spaceflight channel. So we'll have to see. Oh, hey, so I got a ping. Yeah, hey, all right, somebody posted. It works. I got a message in the Discord channel. Perfect. Good morning to Plor. So there we go. So it works. This is a new venture for me. We'll see what happens. And then, oh, you know what? I totally meant to include this on today's broadcast, but I didn't. This was supposed to be up the whole time. It's kind of over my face, and you can't really read it. But I told you at the beginning that we have a whole bunch of new toys to try out, and one of them is this this new chat widget here that I can put on the broadcast. Like, oops, not like that. That's not what I want to do. Let me get my chat widget moved over here. We'll put it up here like this, and then we can display the chat right on the actual screen itself. So some cool things that we're going to try out for some of the broadcasts here. I'm going to try to do this more and more. It's tough trying to remember all of this stuff, all the stuff that I have at my disposal. So, and there's the Nightbots. Even the Nightbot is showing up on our chat. So there you go. Now you can fire off messages, and that should. I forgot about that. I totally meant to have that up during the whole broadcast today, but I forgot. But that should actually allow, kind of pseudo allow cross posting between Periscope and YouTube, because you'll be able to see everybody's chat right there in the on the broadcast. And even if you post in the Discord channel, that will show up on the broadcast as well. So yeah, we're trying to. It's a tough balance with all the stuff that we have available. You don't want to be too crazy overwhelming, because because then everything just gets too fragmented. But at the same time, you want to try to unite everybody and bring everybody close together and try to make everybody feel like they're on the inner circle here. So that's the idea. So that's what we're trying to do, is just make this broadcast a little more interactive. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I like to test a lot of these things out during these overnight broadcasts, when you guys are my overnight guinea pigs that I can do. And that way, when we have like the big Falcon Heavy broadcast where we have thousands of people watching, like we had the last time, then I don't screw things up and run into another Space Lobster situation. Although I can't really complain about the Space Lobster situation, because that seemed to work out well for us after that. But yeah, that was during some experimentation. So Deborah wants to know, how long will this burn last? Here, let me
minutes remaining until MECO 2.
Turn the volume back on.
At MECO 2, the second stage will send a discrete command to the third stage to begin the initialization sequence.
Let's see, where are we? We're at 35 minutes.
At that point, we should expect to start seeing telemetry data from the third stage through their transmitter. 20 seconds after separation of the second and third stage, the third stage will ignite, and it will begin its 89-second burn.
So yeah, this was a very long second stage burn here. Sorry, I just realized that you guys were all here in the doot from the Discord. So I turned that off. But anyways, so this burn should be ending here very shortly. We're at about 36 minutes. This burn is supposed to end at 37 minutes. So we're coming up on that second stage cutoff, and then we'll have cutoff and then separation, and then we're going on to that final third stage there.
Approximately 1 minute remaining until MECO 2.
Gregorius says he thinks it's better if we don't put the chat on the video. It looks too cluttered. Well, here, let me move. I don't like where it is at the moment. Let me, I'm going to move it over here at least. Let's see. Let me move it. I don't know. We'll have to see how this works. We'll see what's happening here with this chat. I don't know if it'll. I am kind of torn on the chat thing, on whether or not it's like too cluttered, or if it actually looks decent. I'm not so sold on it. Sorry, I'm messing with the chat here now. Yeah, a couple people agree. They think
and standing by from MECO momentarily
is too much. Is too much with the chat there. You might be right. Could be too cluttering. I don't know.
And we have MECO main engine cutoff.
So there's our second stage cutoff there. We will be... now we should have separation. It's only about 30 seconds until separation.
Now passing 38 minutes into flight. Third stage transmitter is on.
There it is.
And visual cue there of separation.
Third stage telemetry.
the animation doesn't follow the actual spacecraft.
And we have acquisition of third stage telemetry.
I don't know what's happening there. That kind of seems strange. I mean, it's an animation. They can make it do whatever they want, right? It's like the spacecraft got away from the animation. Not sure what happened there. Okay, Grigori says, embrace minimalism. Google did. Yeah, I could definitely see.
And we did see ignition on the third stage, seeing chamber pressures, seeing some periodic dropouts of telemetry.
Periodic dropouts of telemetry. Yeah, Jason said he was worried about inappropriate postings. I did actually go through. That is true. That is a risk that you take. But I did. There's a whole bunch of filters you can put in place to hopefully
now
filter
39
out
minutes,
inappropriate
30
stuff.
seconds into flight.
Everybody's standing. I have not heard confirmation of ignition on the third stage yet.
Should be expecting to see third stage burnout momentarily.
Oh, okay.
Apologize, we're still seeing some periodic dropouts of third stage telemetry. Difficult to make calls.
Okay, so it sounds like third stage ignition did happen. Now they're expecting burnout. That should be happening any minute here. It's actually past the time that it was supposed to be. But that's the last thing to be expected. I was hoping they were going to show the velocity. Mataya wants to know what will happen with the second stage. Well, the second stage is actually, I believe, it's just going to be in a heliocentric orbit. It's basically being ejected from Earth's orbit, and it's going to...
And at 40 minutes, 40 seconds into flight. Still seeing some telemetry dropouts from the third stage.
And actually, when I say heliocentric orbit, it's not going to be...
At this point, the third stage would have completed the burn and would be turning to the spacecraft separation burn attitude on a nominal timeline. Still looking for some data to confirm that.
So it sounds like they're having some telemetry issues. But yeah, that second stage is basically going to be... that second stage is, from as far as I know, will not re-enter and burn up in the atmosphere. It's going to be in a well, it will. I shouldn't say as far as I know. It will not re-enter the atmosphere. It's going way too fast, and it's at escape velocity, so it's going to be in heliocentric orbit. It's basically going to follow the Earth around. It's not quite in as elliptical of an orbit as the Parker Solar Probe will be in, but it will be in a heliocentric orbit, basically roughly following Earth's
Delta flight
path.
commentary at 41 minutes 56 seconds into flight. We are still experiencing some dropout of third stage telemetry, trying to confirm that the sequence of events, and we'll provide updates when that's available.
So we're just waiting on the very last final confirmation. They got to make sure that burnout happened, which it should have already happened at this point, and they got to make sure that the Parker Solar Probe has been separated. They don't have confirmation of either of those at this point yet, so they're looking for burnout confirmation and spacecraft separation confirmation. So, we're waiting to see what happens here. and then we'll probably wrap up shortly thereafter, but hopefully we see a success. That's what we want to make sure this thing gets into its proper orbit here.
Now passing 43 minutes into flight. And per a nominal timeline for today's mission, should be expecting to see spacecraft separation in approximately 1 minute.
Okay, so we're still not at the spacecraft separation point yet. So we should be seeing that in, like you said, in a minute. And hopefully they get their telemetry feed up and running here. Jason said he wonders if it'll end up at a Lagrange point. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to end up. I think it's just going to basically be in a random heliocentric orbit, just following the sun around, or following the Earth around, rather. It's really not, that final.
We've been informed that the third stage is providing data to a ground station. Do not have real-time data, so we will provide updates of those events as they come in from a playback.
All right. So it looks like a ground station is getting it. They just don't have real-time information. So, yeah, that's the last thing that we're waiting on.
At 44 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, still attempting to confirm occurrence of events for the third stage phase of flight.
Yeah, and that, well, it gets you a little bit nervous with that third stage.
And per a nominal timeline, should have expected to see spacecraft separation within the last minute.
I mean, that third stage was that was a very special third stage that was put together specifically for this mission here. So you always get nervous with stuff like that because, with like most things with rockets, I think one of the guys said it in the press conference on Friday. When it comes to rockets, it has to work the first time. Like there was no testing this guy, but to date there has never been a solid, at least not that I'm aware of, there's never been a solid rocket motor. Oh, I see clapping. Never been a solid rocket motor.
And you're looking at a live shot there, the Delta Operations Center. Team shaking hands.
I heard in the background they said telemetry now available. Everybody shaking hands and clapping. I'm going to guess that we're good. Everybody seems happy. Nobody's sitting in their desk with their heads
Teams
in
the
hands.
Delta Operations Center shaking hands. Now the United Launch Alliance Mission Control Room. We have had confirmation of spacecraft separation.
There we go. Confirmation of separation. So there it is. Everybody seems happy. Hopefully everything's on track here. Now it's the big waiting game. So it might have seemed like a waiting game this morning, but now it's the big waiting game, going to waiting to get that data back from the sun. So we're the first.
Attention on Net 2 would like to confirm the spacecraft has acquired data, and we are working on a playback to get our third stage confirmation. But at this point, the spacecraft is up and happy.
All right. So spacecraft is up and happy, they say, but they
And
still don't
confirmation
have
of
exact
spacecraft
data.
separation there. You're looking at a live view inside the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory where teams were just celebrating. And I'm still joined here by Katie Nieves of Northrop Grumman. And Katie, can you tell me what's next for Northrop Grumman?
Well, congratulations to the entire team. Best of luck for Parker Solar Probe.
I'm going to turn this down here. We'll, yeah, we don't necessarily need to hear the whole schedule, but yeah, we'll see what's happening. But it looks like everything is good to go, and everybody's shaking hands and not just shaking hands. Everybody's smiling, clapping. Seems like everybody's happy. And it looks like the little Parker Solar Probe is on its way to the sun. So we got a little bit, you know, the next thing that we're waiting on is going to be the next event for the Parker Solar Probe, at least, is the very first Venus flyby. That first Venus flyby is going to happen in September. I think it's September 28th will be the first Venus flyby for the Parker Solar Probe. So really now, at this point, I mean, they're going to do some power up. They're going to get the solar arrays out. They'll make sure the communications are up. They'll do some checks on the sensors, make sure everything is good to go. But then, yeah, next big thing is going to be that Venus flyby in September, late September. And then the first perihelion that's the first approach to the sun. That's going to be not until November of this year. So so yeah, it's going to be November 1st is the first perihelion to the first time it passes the sun. So in case you missed the beginning of the broadcast where we talked about it a little bit here, I'll switch over and we'll take a look at it. This is basically the orbital path that the Parker Solar Probe will be taking. So it's going to so we got launch these dates obviously are probably going to be slightly different now that we didn't launch, because this was a July 31st launch. So that's what this date was based on. So we're you know, we're about 12 days past that here now. So so these dates will all shift a little bit here, but yeah, you get your first Venus flyby, and it's a little bit confusing trying to look at all the different dates, and because there's so many Venus flybys and gravity assists that it's kind of all over the place. But the very first flyby was originally scheduled September 28th, but yeah, I guess since that's not or this didn't launch on July 31st, that's probably going to be pushed out a little bit. So that will, so you'll get a close approach, but not the closest approach, but the first close approach will be November 1st. That's the first perihelion, which is basically, perihelion just means that's the closest point in the orbit to the body that it's orbiting. So the body it's orbiting now is the sun. It's no longer orbiting Earth, it's now orbiting the sun. So its closest approach is called perihelion. The furthest approach is called aphelion. So they're so that first perihelion is coming up in November, and then all these different Venus flybys, they're going to get gravity assists, and essentially that gravity assist is actually going to slow it down and draw that orbital path in even closer. So the idea is it'll slow it down without needing a rocket to do so, and it will continue to slow it down for the next several years, and then the very closest approach that we get, at least on this mission timeline that we're in, that they're planning on, that very close approach is going to be December of 2024. So we got a lot of years before we get to that. So the Parker Solar Probe is going to be in operation for a while here. But yeah, part of that mission timeline is it's going to put that very close approach at 2024. And that's when the Parker Solar Probe gets to be about 4 million miles from the surface, which sounds like a lot. But relatively speaking, that's very close to the surface of the sun. So yeah, it's basically flying right through the corona and getting some measurements there. So a couple of people asked, what is it trying to do? So the big things that it's trying to figure out, one is they're trying to figure out why the corona, which is the upper atmosphere of the sun, is why it is hotter than the surface of the sun. So as the temperature actually increases as you get up in the corona, which is kind of crazy. So they're trying to figure out why that happens. Why does the corona increase in temperature? And then the other thing they're trying to figure out is in relation to the solar wind, or the particles, the energetic particles that are coming off of the sun. They're trying to figure out that solar wind accelerates through the corona. So they're trying to figure out what is causing that. Why are these particles accelerating through the corona as they leave the sun? So the main theory has to do with something called the Parker spiral, which Dr. Eugene Parker is the one that came up with this theory. But the Parker spiral is the magnetic field around the sun. There's a whole, you can go look it up on Wikipedia or something. You look up the Parker spiral, but it's basically the unique magnetic field around the sun that is causing those particles to accelerate through the corona as it leaves. So kind of crazy, some crazy stuff, and they're going to try to figure out figure that out and actually get it nailed down. And it's probably a good thing that they ended this, or that we got to the end of this broadcast, because now my NASA stream is freaking out right now and it's not live anymore. There we go. I just got it back. Have they ever found out how hot the sun really is? It has to be way hot. Yeah, I think it's pretty well known, you know, our rough temperatures of what the sun is. But obviously, sending a probe to the sun is going to get a lot better measurements. And so they're going to, you know, it's tough to. There's a big difference between temperature and heat. So they should be able to measure the temperature, but I do want to caution with that, just because a lot of people, you know, see these crazy high temperatures and they think, oh my God, how is the spacecraft going to survive that? But the heat actually being transferred to the spacecraft is very minimal compared to the actual temperature, simply because the particles are not that dense when it's flying through the corona. So it's the way they compare this. When you're if you watch any of the press conference, the way they kind of explain that is it's like sticking if you were to stick your hand inside an oven that's at 500 degrees or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. If you stick your hand in the oven and don't touch anything, the oven is 500 degrees, but if you don't touch anything, it's not really that bad on your hand. But the moment you touch one of the surfaces, that's where you immediately burn yourself, because the heat transfer, it's a lot more dense when you're actually touching something versus, you know, just placing your hand in the less dense air of the oven. Same thing if it's, you know, if you put your hand in 500 degree air versus if you put your hand in 500 degree water, it's going to be, you're going to get burned instantly. You put your hand in boiling water like that. So that's kind of the general idea of why the spacecraft is not experiencing the millions of degrees Fahrenheit that it is actually at inside the corona there. Let's see. Jason says the sun's magnetic field is pretty crazy. From what I learned, switches poles every 11 years. Yeah, the sun definitely has a crazy magnetic field. Yeah, not only does it switches poles. It's that Parker spiral, which I was reading about as, you know, leading up to this launch here today. But the whole bit about the Parker spiral is pretty crazy. Some of the magnetic stuff, and then I see Jason and Gregorius say, "Don't try that at home." Gregorius says, "Seriously, don't try that at home." Yeah, please don't go put your hand in the oven or a hand in boiling water. That's not a good idea. Just don't do that. I was just trying to explain. But yeah, hashtag do not try that at home. But yeah, so the magnetic field around the sun is pretty crazy, and that's one of the big things that they're going to be measuring with the Parker Solar Probe is the magnetic field and what is happening there. I do want to show. Oh, they don't have it up there. Let me see if I can switch over real quick before they stop showing it. Of course, now it's just an orange screen. Shucks, I missed it. They were showing the spacecraft and where some of the sensors were, but now they're talking about the heating of it. So I'm still going to leave the volume off, but they were talking about basically what's keeping it cool. You got the heat shield. All the sensors kind of tuck in behind that heat shield. And so it's a nice cool 85 degrees behind that heat shield. 2,500 degrees is what the front of the heat shield is experiencing. The back side of the heat shield is only about 85 degrees, and then they're using that water to cool the rest of the components. So there we have it. I think we probably should wrap this up. We've been going for a while here now, about an hour and a half. I guess it's not too long, but I think we pretty much covered it all, right? We had a decent time. They're not, you know, you like the ULA stuff. You like to see a successful launch. It's always a little nicer when you see some of those camera angles that SpaceX shows, and you get the booster landing, and that gets pretty exciting. But we didn't have any of that today. Oh, here's the oven thing here. Hashtag don't try that at home. Yeah, so yeah, we didn't have any of the booster landings or recoveries or any of that kind of stuff here today. So So understandable if you weren't super excited about it, but I appreciate everybody hanging out with us here and at least chatting. And if you want to chat more, we're going to try out this whole Discord channel thing. And like I said, I don't really know how to work Discord, but I'm going to try to learn it. As a guy that's a software engineer, I feel like I have to learn the technology and figure out what's going on there. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it here for me. Sorry, I was trying to get my I was trying to add something to the screen here, but it wasn't coming up. I don't know what's happening here. It's supposed to be my little title that was going to show my name. I had that before, but it wasn't coming up. Anyway, so there we go. We got a successful launch today for the Delta IV Heavy. Looks like everybody's happy at the launch mission control there, launch control and mission control. Everybody seems to be happy. We didn't officially get a lot of word, but just because of some of those telemetry issues at the end, but they did say everything was good, and looks like everybody's moving on. So I see some people packing up and moving out of the room here now. So there we go. Thank you for a great live streak as always. Well, I hope I didn't go live streaking, but I assume you're talking about the live stream, which we did do today. Yeah, please everyone remember to give a thumbs up. Yeah, I appreciate it. Definitely thumbs up the video if you're on YouTube, or send over some hearts if you're on Periscope. I really love that. Helps me know that you guys like it, you guys are having a good time, and that we're moving on. So I'm going to try to work out some of the cross-posting between YouTube and Periscope in the chat. It seems to work one way. All the Periscope comments show up on the YouTube channel, but they're not showing up the other way around. The YouTube comments don't show up in the Periscope feed. So we'll have to see if we can sort that out for next time, because that's pretty cool if everybody can be in the chat all together and get everybody going here. And then also, yeah, so check out that Discord channel that we set up in the description, on the YouTube description, if you want to join our Discord server and have some spaceflight chats, some chats about weather balloons, Arduino, Raspberry Pis, all kind. I don't know. We'll see what we can come up with there. I don't know what we're gonna have. I don't really know how to work Discord, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to figure it out. Yeah, then join us for the next broadcast. Is this next SpaceX broadcast coming up the end of August. That'll be August 23rd. It's 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 3:33 UTC. So join us for that one. That'll be the next rocket launch coming up. So we got about 11 days until the next one there. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I am going to try my hardest to try to put some video together from Overlook Horizon 15, and we'll have some of our space. You guys can't see it in here. I was looking over at the Space Lobster, which is behind me, but we will have we're going to try to put the Space Lobster video together and get some video out there of the Space Lobster and show that off so you guys can all see that. And yeah, we'll have, I don't know what I was going to say there. Just completely lost my train of thought. So Jer says, I've been in another stream where YouTube and Facebook didn't cross over to Periscope. It may not work. There is a good chance you might be right. It may not work to send that over to from YouTube or Facebook to Periscope, because there's yeah, the software that I'm using to do all of that crazy magic, yeah, it's only you know, it can only do so much. So yeah, there's certainly a possibility that we may never get YouTube comments to cross over to Periscope. But if we can at least get it to go one way, whoa, what was that sound? If we can at least get it to go one way, then you know that's a plus there. So I'm gonna try to. Periscope chat is throttled. I think that might be a problem. Oh yeah, that could be. Yeah, maybe they've got some limiting factors on Periscope so that we can't. So it's not going to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. All right, what happened to my? I was trying to. My background got all screwed up here. Well, I'm just going to leave it like this. I was trying to show you my little name bar that comes up at the bottom, but that's not working. I don't know what the problem is. All right, so let's see. It can be seen on your screen that was taken down, however, on all streams. Not sure what that means there, Jer. You have to let me know what you're referring to. All right, so let's see. Let me see if I can get this. Well, that's not going to work. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap up because this is the problem with running a broadcast by yourself. See, you see my little background move a little bit. I was trying to get this fixed here because it got all screwy on the broadcast that I'm messing with. This is the problem with not having somebody that can be a producer at the same time while I'm broadcasting, is I have to do all of this on the fly. And all of this work was for me to go, ta-da! Oh man, I did all of that and vamped forever just so that I could show you my name. I'm so full of myself that I want. Oh, and of course this old background still showed up. Oh man, I just need a producer that could do all of this for me, so I don't have to do that. So, oh, Jer's talking about this the chat that was cluttering the screen there. So yeah, I did turn that off. It does kind of look a little bit cluttering, but I don't know. We'll figure something out. So anyways, yeah, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed, get a little more sleep before I have to wake up. But as I had mentioned before, I appreciate everybody hanging out. This was a lot of fun, and now everybody's laughing about my Donna about the name bar. Yeah, so do you want to see it again? You want to see? We would try one more time. Donna. All right, so that's it. I got to wrap this up. See, now it's getting late at night. We're getting a little bit silly. Okay. Well, thanks everybody again for hanging out. I appreciate it. This was fun. My name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. We got a successful Delta IV Heavy launch today with the Parker Solar Probe. It'll be exciting to follow this mission over the coming months and years. But join us again next time, and we'll have a SpaceX broadcast coming up, and who knows what kind of other toys I'll have to play with during the broadcast. I'm having fun with this, and when you send over those thumbs up and those hearts on Periscope and the likes, all that kind of stuff, you subscribe to the channel, you follow us at OLHCN on Twitter, all that stuff lets me know that you guys are having a good time, and it gives me the inspiration to play with these toys and gadgets and widgets and all kinds of fun stuff. I try not to overdo it. There's a like I said before, very fine line. If you start overdoing it, like the chat, we talked about, the chat's gets a little bit cluttering. That's probably a little bit overdoing it. So we're gonna try not to overdo it, but at the same time, you gotta try it. Otherwise, you don't know. Is it cool or is it not cool? So there we go. Jer says, thanks, Tori. You're a cool dude. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I try not to be too crazy, but got to have a little bit of craziness in life, right? That's what makes it fun. All right, bedtime now. Bedtime number 2. We're going to try again. So, all right. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for watching. Join me on the next one, and we will see you guys all later. Have a good rest of the night, or have a good day, and I will see you guys all soon. Thanks, everybody. See ya.